وقل جاء الحق وزهق الباطل إن الباطل كان زهوقا.
Are you looking for me to entertain you again? Huh? I don't have time for that. Instead, I'm establishing a mega masjid and dawah center with IslamNet. I want you to join this massive dawah endeavor. So click the link below and donate now.
Assalamu alaikum, my dear brothers and sisters in Islam, and welcome to another episode of our Ramadan series, where we uncover the hypocrisy of Islamophobes, debunk their baseless claims, and present the truth of Islam with clarity and evidence. In today's episode, we'll be addressing the claims of Adam Elmasri, who accuses Muslims of lying about the continuous preservation and transmission of the Quran. He argues that certain hadiths contradict the Muslim belief in the Quran's preservation. According to him, Muslims dismiss such hadiths as weak or fabricated to cover up their claims. Among the examples he cites are a narration from 𝙗𝙪𝙞𝙦, where she reportedly said that the verses of stoning and adult breastfeeding were written on a sheet kept under her bed, which a domestic animal allegedly ate after the Prophet ﷺ passed away. Another narration where Ubay bin Ka'b, may Allah be pleased with him, reportedly stated that Surah Hijab was once as long as Surah Al-Baqarah, but now only consists of 73 verses. Let's examine some of the statements he made.
So, whoever tries to convince you of continuous transmission and preservation of the Quran is deceiving you. Don't let them tell you that these claims have been refuted. No, they have not. They have been covered up, manipulated, and twisted in failed apologetic responses. But the evidence is quite staggering. Aisha said, I quote, "The verse of the stoning and the verse of adult breastfeeding 10 times were revealed, and they were in a sheet under my bed when the Prophet passed away and we were preoccupied with his death. A domestic animal entered and ate it." This in itself indicates that there were others who didn't know about the verses of stoning and adult breastfeeding. They didn't receive the same verses from the same source. Period. No linear transmission or preservation of text. For as far as I'm concerned, these verses were not known to some people and were known to some people. So people didn't all receive the Quran in the same way through continuous transmission from the Prophet.
So we've heard what he said. Akhi Mohammed Hijab, what would you say to these allegations that he made?
So we'll start with the first thing that was spoken about in terms of the sheep, the tame sheep that came and ate the parchment or the leaf or whatever it may have been that contained those particular ayahs. And I looked at some of the hadiths relating to that and found that, yes, there were some hadiths that did indicate the breastfeeding verses, etc. But that aspect of it where the tame animal came and ate it, the scholars of hadith actually do tada'if of that particular element, which is they consider it to be an inauthentic element. And the reason why is because they say that it's been narrated by multiple people, but this element has only been narrated by someone called Mohammed ibn 𝙗𝙗𝙤𝙗. Now, Mohammed ibn 𝙗𝙗𝙗 has not had any contact with Aisha radiallahu anha, so he could not have been given information that the other narrators did not have. So they actually dismiss this and say this is not even a reliable transmission. And they even, some of them, talk about the weakness of Muhammad ibn 𝙗𝙗𝙗 in terms of his, standing in the hadith sciences. Notwithstanding that fact, it doesn't matter anyway. Because neither this fact, nor the other fact that was mentioned, which this one, there is an authentic kind of transmission that you mentioned, Ka'b's hadith, about Surah Al-Ahzab being the size of Surah Al-Baqarah, and then it became 73 verses. That one is authentically narrated. And it's mentioned in many of the tafsir. In fact, Al-Qurtubi has a long discussion about this. This doesn't affect anything because in the Quran it's mentioned, مَا نَنْسَخْ مِنْ آيَةٍ أَوْ نُنْسِيهَا نَأْتِ بِخَيْرٍ مِنْهَا أَوْ مِثْلِهَا, that we will not abrogate a verse or cause it to be forgotten, except that we will cause something, another verse to be put in its place. So Islam has this conception of abrogation, okay? In order for you to make a case against the preservation of Islam, you have to disregard and refute logically and reasonably as well as through some kind of a textual evidence, this concept of abrogation. For people that don't know how the Quran was actually preserved, it was preserved over many, many years, but the 𝙒𝙪𝙞𝙀, the final giving of the Quran from the angel Gabriel to Muhammad ﷺ in Ramadan, whereby the angel actually read the whole Quran twice in that year, is the final non-abrogated aspects of the Quranic speech. And that is what we believe. If you're asking us whether we believe in verses in the Quran has been removed, the Quran says that itself. The Quran mentions that there are verses in the Quran that have been removed.
Yeah.
So there's no surprise. I mean, if this was some kind of great conspiracy, then I don't know why the Quran would mention this, actually in more than one verse.
So someone would say that, okay, if these are verses from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, why would Allah reveal them and then later on change his mind? Some of the critics may say that.
Well, we don't say that Allah revealed them and then later on change his mind. There are many wisdoms one can conceivably extract from the concept of abrogation.
Pause the video for a second. You thought I'd forget about you. When you're finished with the video, make sure you click the link below and put a donation for the masjid.
And it's not as if abrogation does not exist in the Judeo-Christian tradition. In fact, in the book of Genesis, you find that Abraham was told to sacrifice his son. And after he was told to sacrifice his son, he didn't sacrifice his son, and in fact, he sacrificed an animal.
Yes.
Okay, and this marked a monumentous event known in all three Abrahamic religions. Now, that is a form of abrogation because you had one hukum, you had one ruling, which was then removed, repealed, and then you have another ruling, which is the ruling now to sacrifice an animal. And you can see just from that example why abrogation would be a wise thing to do, to test the believers. And that's one thing you can do. In this situation, it may very well be the case that the contents in those abrogated verses in the Quran were applicable at a particular time and place for that particular community,
that makes
and
sense.
then became less applicable as time went on.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's nothing logical or rational. If someone wants to present a case against the religion of Islam, what they have to do is defeat Islam through an undercutter, a logical or rational undercutter. This doesn't even constitute a valid or robust, offense against or interrogation to the religion of Islam.
Yeah. They're trying to make some shortcuts, trying to make some fringe points to score some. It doesn't make any sense to me.
And it's as if he's discovered the bee's knees. I mean, we know about abrogation. Everyone knows about abrogation. It's not a secret. The Quran talks about it multiple times.
We don't deny it. That's
we
the
don't
thing.
deny it.
Yeah, that's part of the religion. That's part of our faith.
And what's the problem with it? You have to now explain why a system of abrogation is incoherent. The onus is on you. The burden of proof is upon the one that's making the claim.
Jazakallah khair, akhi. I think we've clarified the matter for the audience. I don't think there's any need for any more clarifications. This guy, he's just trying to make up something where there's nothing. Just from thin air trying to make a point where there's no point. The matter of the fact is that Islam is the religion of truth, no matter what these people say.
Exactly, and I'll be honest, you've been in the field for many years yourself. I've been in the field for many years. I can tell you this is going to be a failed attempt because, in fact, I've never seen anybody leave the religion of Islam or even have a considerable doubt based on this issue. I don't know if you have.
Never.
But of all the issues that there are, this is the least. I'm going to leave the religion because of abrogation. I've never heard it before in my life. And that's why it's a weak argument.
Yes.
They can continue making it or make our jobs easier.
So brothers and sisters, Jazakallah khair for watching today's episode. But for us to continue producing these kinds of episodes, we need your support. And it's the month of Ramadan, and no better month, no better time for you to be generous. Like the Prophet ﷺ, he was more generous than the wind in the month of Ramadan.
Wow.
And all of us will be donating eventually in this month. So why not give some of what you have planned to give in sadaqah to this specific project of IslamNet, debunking these misconceptions, clearing the fog for people to understand and see and realize the truth of Islam.
I think you've beautifully articulated that, and I think that if people have foresight and insight into exactly what we're trying to achieve here for their generations, they will be clicking that button, that link below. There's no doubt in my mind, because the Muslim community is a generous community.
Yeah.
These people have been very generous to us, to the Islam Net project. And that's why we're able to have a studio the way that we have it here, and a mosque the way we have it here. And the generosity of the Muslims is what's going to save the Muslims, I think.
Most definitely, most definitely. And this is something that's encouraged in the Quran, in multiple verses, that you give for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and He will replace what you have given. He will not only replace it, He will multiply it for you manifold.
Yeah.
So this is a secured investment for your akhirah. Brothers and sisters, take a portion of this great work that we're doing right here and give for the sake of Allah. Click the link. It will only take you 20 seconds, half a minute, I don't know. Just make that small sacrifice of yours, and inshallah ta'ala, you will see on the Day of Judgment, you will have the rewards of hundreds or thousands or tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people.
I don't know.
These videos are being watched by hundreds of thousands of people, inshallah.
Exactly.
You will have the rewards of every one of those who will be guided through these videos.
Alhamdulillah.
So, Jazakallah khair. Click the link, donate now, and see you in the next episode. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.